Good evening from Chicago and the United Center, home of the Democratic National Convention, kicking off 4 days of festivities that will culminate with Vice President Kamala Harris accepting her party's nomination for president. Tonight, President Biden will headline the convention. It will not be the speech he had planned to give or hoped to give a month ago when he expected to be the nominee himself. But after that dismal debate performance, the president was forced under heavy pressure to step aside as his party clamored for a new generation of leadership. And so in the twilight of his political career tonight, he will ask Americans to rally around the vice president, telling reporters he's ready to pass the torch. It's where we begin tonight with Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander.
Tonight, Vice President Harris here in Chicago, the start of a week-long Democratic celebration of its new nominee after that stunning party shakeup. Less than a month ago, Democrats were demoralized. Tonight, they're delighted about a race that polls show has moved in the Democrats' direction.
I very much consider us the underdog. We have a lot of work to do to earn the vote of the American people.
The night's headliner, President Biden, checking out the stage late this afternoon.
Are you ready to pass the torch? Yes, sir. I am.
4 years after he accepted the nomination in the middle of the pandemic in a hall by himself. The backdrop to the president's speech tonight, he'll be speaking to many of the same Democrats who maneuvered to push him out of the race. The president's sources told NBC News was initially angry, but now a senior advisor says President Biden views this moment without regret. Congresswoman Debbie Dingell has been a Biden ally for years.
This is not the convention that President Biden was initially expecting, not what he was hoping for. What message do you want to hear from him tonight?
I'm sure it's a bittersweet night for him, but I know Joe Biden. He's going to look forward. He's helped get us to where we are. He knows what's on the line in November.
The Democrats touting a lineup of marquee names. Tonight, Hillary Clinton and First Lady Jill Biden. Tomorrow, Doug Emhoff, who could become the nation's first gentleman. Earlier enjoying his run-through on stage, as well as former President Obama and Michelle Obama. On Wednesday, it's former President Clinton and Harris's running mate, Tim Walz, greeting supporters this morning.
We get an opportunity tonight to say a thank you to the best president of my lifetime.
All capped off by Harris accepting the party's nomination Thursday night. This weekend sharply criticizing Mr. Trump for his personal attacks like this.
I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Anybody who's about beating down other people is a coward. This is what strength looks like.
Still, Republicans are not ceding all the attention this week. J.D. Vance and Mr. Trump hitting a series of battlegrounds.
Kamala puts America last. I put America first.
Going after Harris on the economy. While inflation recently cooled to 2.9%, many Americans say prices remain too high.
Their economy's terrible, and the inflation is eating everybody alive, and it's been doing that for 3 years.
And Peter, thinking about the president's speech tonight, it's almost as if he's writing his legacy in real time. I know you have some new reporting about what he might tell the country this evening.
Lester, that's exactly right. We're here right in front of the stage, and tonight we're told that President Biden is going to speak about what he was able to accomplish over the course of these last 3.5 years alongside Vice President Kamala Harris. But we're told a major focus tonight is also going to be on the future. And from the crowd that's gathered here, California's delegation behind me, he's expected to get a hero's welcome tonight, as much for what he was able to get done as for his decision to step aside. Lester?
All right, Peter Alexander on the convention floor, thanks. And within blocks of where we are right now, thousands of protesters took to the streets and in one case breached a barricade. Maggie Vespa is there. Maggie, explain what you're seeing.
Yeah, Lester, it's really tense out here. You can see Chicago police in riot gear have now lined the street. We're just blocks from the United Center, and you can see it snakes all the way that way toward the barrier itself, where protesters have been lined up. And earlier today, as you said, breached part of that barrier, tearing sections of the fence down. This is a largely pro-Palestinian protest. Earlier, we had close to 6,000 people marching slowly, peacefully through Chicago's west side, demanding Vice President Harris and Democrats commit to a ceasefire in Gaza and ending America's support of Israel, saying if they don't agree to those demands, Democrats and the vice president can't count on the votes of people here come November. Lester.
Maggie Vespa, thank you. Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.